I know so many of you are struggling with absent cervical mucus or very little cervical mucus. So in today's video, we're going to talk about why that is and what you can do to turn it around. Hi everyone, I am Amara Salerno, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner of reclaimoptimalhealth.com, where I help couples just like you resolve their infertility and get back to creating those families you so deeply desire. And before we get started, please click on the subscribe link button down below so that you get notifications every Friday when I post these videos. And if you haven't already, come and follow me on Instagram. I am at Model Salerno, and I'm there really to answer your questions and connect with you. Let's jump right in. So what is cervical mucus and why is it so important? Well, cervical mucus helps the sperm move through the uterus to the egg, and it creates this nice moist environment that's like this beautiful trail, and it says, hey, you sperm, you get to the egg, right? But what it also provides the sperm with is nutrition. So cervical mucus actually helps to feed the sperm so that it can actually last in the environment of the vagina nice and protected for up to 7 days. I think that is the most amazing thing ever. But not only that, the cervical mucus also helps to weed out those sperms that are weak and not high quality, right? Because we just want high quality sperm so that we have life that survives and thrives when we're talking about our babies. We want really healthy babies, right? So it's amazing that cervical mucus has that intelligence and ability. Now, it's also about 95% water in weight when it gets to the peak of estrogen, or we move closer towards ovulation, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And cervical mucus is a great monitor of your overall hormonal balance or imbalance. And it can also tell you if you've got any infections going on or maybe too much stress going on and the like. So it gives us a lot of information. And we know that cervical mucus is so important in conception. And when cervical mucus is absent, it can be really, really frustrating because it's one of the hallmarks of natural conception. And you're like, what gives? Why can't I have cervical mucus? So let's talk about that. Before we get into that, I want to just do a little bit more education 101 so we're all on the same page. Some of you may already know this, but I just want to go through with it. So just bear with me for a couple more minutes, and we're going to pop into what it is that you can do to turn this around for yourself. Now, on the first day of your menstrual cycle, which is day 1 of bleeding, right? You're bleeding. It's probably hard to notice anyway if there were to be any cervical mucus present, but that is when your estrogen and your progesterone levels are the lowest, okay? And you're bleeding, okay? So then you finish bleeding, and then your body is going to slowly begin rising estrogen levels. And during that period, you're probably not going to see much of anything. A lot of times there's just an absence of cervical mucus. There might be like some crumbliness or some tackiness that might be present, but for a lot of women, there's nothing there. And then as estrogen levels are rising, the cervical mucus is going to begin to shift some more. Now, the reason that estrogen is rising is because estrogen is produced by the follicle that is growing in your ovary and that is preparing to release an egg after ovulation. Pretty cool, right? So as this estrogen is rising, it's preparing that beautiful follicle, that healthiest one that's going to become the egg that gets released. Now, during this time, what you're going to observe or feel or touch and notice is that your cervical mucus is going to start getting wetter. It's going to start getting creamier or more lotiony kind of. Some people even say egg whitey during this time. Kind of depends on the person. And then as estrogen levels begin to rise even more, as it's preparing, your body's preparing for ovulation to take place, estrogen levels really peak that 1 to 2 days before actual ovulation takes place. And so that's when you notice that your cervical mucus will get really sticky or stretchy, again, very wet, maybe even clear-like. And for some people, it could become like egg whites as well. So it kind of depends on the person. But that stretchiness and that stickiness is usually one of the hallmarks of cervical mucus during that fertile zone period. Now again, I know that you don't have cervical mucus present, but I want you to know what to look for as you're turning things around for yourself. That's going to be important. Now, once ovulation takes place, then the luteal phase, or where progesterone is more dominant, is going to come in. And what progesterone does is it actually inhibits the production of cervical mucus. And so you'll notice that your cervical mucus will become absent during this time, or again, maybe a little bit tacky or crumbly like, and it changes. So that is basically what happens in an entire menstrual cycle that you have with your cervical mucus. And so those are going to be things that you're going to want to keep in mind as you're rebuilding your health, balancing your hormones, and getting your cervical mucus back. So what can you do to bring it back? I know all of you have been waiting for this point in the video to get those answers. Well, number one, we know that at that peak of estrogen, cervical mucus is about 95% water in weight. So you're going to want to make sure that you're really fully hydrated, throughout the month. That means you're going to be wanting to drink 6 to 8 glasses of high quality filtered water. So a Brita over-the-counter water filter doesn't cut it. Plastic water bottles definitely don't cut it. And please don't tell me you're drinking from the tap. If you are, please make the change today. I beg you, for your overall health. Even if we weren't talking about your fertility, but I know we are, you need to change your water quality. And the reason is because there is all kinds of halogens, fluorides, chlorides, chloramines, all kinds of things like that as far as halogen family is concerned. There's heavy metals, there's pharmaceuticals from people flushing them down the toilet, peeing them down the toilet, and they get into the overall water supply system. And there's all kinds of other toxic elements in there that are estrogen or endocrine overall hormonal disruptors. And your goal with getting your cervical mucus back is getting your hormones in balance. So you want your water to be clean. So please go to the water store and get water that is highly filtered by a strong filtration system, or get a micron filtration system for your home. One of them might look like a big Berkey. I know that one is really great, and that one you would manually refill, but you're gonna have to have a water source, right? Obviously from your sink. Or you can get one that hooks up to the sink. I have been using Ion Faucet's filtration systems for years. I am not affiliated with them, but you can go to their website and check it out yourself. And you can basically get a set of, it'll probably be about 4 to 5 different filters that you'll put together that your water will go through at home. And this is micron filtration and will give you nice, clean, high quality water to consume. And that is so important. Okay, so number one was hydration. Number two is getting your diet right, getting you on a clean, organic, whole foods diet. And not just a whole foods organic diet, but a diet that is uniquely designed for you is so important. So removing foods that are inflammatory to you, being able to identify those. You may need a test to help you along the way, but I actually have a very helpful guide for this in my free fertility starter kit, which you can find down below in the description box. And in that, I give you a lot of support on getting you going, on getting your diet right, because you need high quality proteins, fats, and minerals from those fruits and vegetables that you're consuming, and all those wonderful meats and all those wonderful healthy fats, because you're going to be giving nourishment in your cervical mucus to the sperm. And so all of that needs to survive and thrive. Now, specifically talking about your hormones, fats in particular convert and actually then begin producing in your body, right? Turns into cholesterol, cholesterol then turns into hormones. So you need good, healthy estrogen, right? And good, healthy progesterone in your body in order to have cervical mucus be present once again. So getting that all in order is really, really crucial for your cervical mucus, for your fertility, so you can get closer to your baby. Now, the next important point that we talked about, and we can highlight on what you can do about it, is identifying if you have low estrogen levels. You may not even know you have low estrogen levels. And so running a Dutch test, a dried urine test for comprehensive hormones, is a great idea. It's an at-home test. And in it, it will go through all of your hormones. It will share with us how you're digesting your hormones, maybe why you've got low estrogen going on. So we'll be able to identify for you uniquely what you need to do to boost those estrogen levels up. Now that may be supplemental and maybe food. There's a whole slew of different things that we can do, but we need to figure out what is going to be right for you. Now that test is definitely more expensive, and again, no test is perfect, but Dutch is pretty darn good, and it's different than a blood test. I actually go through all the details of that test in another video, which I'll link for you down in the description box below so you can check it out. But another test that's really inexpensive that you can run at home is called the Prove test. And the Prove test is going to actually help us identify if you're even ovulating. Like, did ovulation actually occur? Because that will answer for us if there was enough estrogen helping you to peak, and like, was there a follicle growing? Like, what was happening? Did ovulation even take place? And this can really answer a lot of questions. And if you're able to run the Dutch as well, that would be really amazing. It can answer us a lot of questions about what's going on with your estrogen levels, what's going on with your progesterone levels, and then again, things that you can do about it. So I hope this video was helpful for you all. I hope you got some good solid education on what your cervical mucus means, why the absence of it is occurring, why it's so important for us to get it back, and some really useful tools that are really easy that you can do at home. And it's just more about mindset and you putting these things into action and doing them. Now, I want to close by just letting you all know that I have many clients who just improve their water quality, their water intake, and their diets. And they're able, after 3 months, to start getting cervical mucus to come back. So I want to tell you that so that you can realize that this stuff actually works, okay? I'm not just blowing smoke here. And if you have any other stressors in your body, so stress can be impeding the production of your hormones, because we know how the brain is so vitally involved in the secretion of our hormones. So if you've got a gut infection going on or any other kind of infection, or your thyroid's out of whack, any of those could be contributing factors to why your hormone levels are out of whack and why your body is not producing cervical mucus. So I hope this video was helpful for you all. If you are ready to figure out why there's not cervical mucus happening for you, and you want to press the fast forward button on your process, then please click on that qualifying call link down below and we can talk about how you can have your baby. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.